While Democrats and the left create their Stasi lists of Trump supporters to oppress during a Biden presidency that will never be, we've been creating a list of our own of all the election malfeasance that is sure to decimate their laughable dream of being led by a demented old man who promises to bring Batacaf care and true Nishamanamamata pressure. But first,
Never tell them who I am. Well, how damn, I'm a man. 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
Now, fair warning, guys, this video is not going to have a whole lot of commentary. We are just going to go through the headlines of all of the articles that are coming out raising questions about this election. Now, I am going ahead and I am making a Google Doc that will be available in the description below of just a running list of all of the media outlets that are posting this stuff. So let's go ahead and start with the first one from Eyewitness News. Vanderburgh County woman facing felony election fraud charge. From KDKA Pittsburgh. Butler County Elections Director says Postal Service lost unknown number of mail-in ballots. From Fox News. Ballots stolen from mailboxes discarded on roadside in Washington town. From CBS Los Angeles. Group claims nearly 400,000 California ballots sent to people who moved out of the state or died. From Newsbreak. Texas poll watcher testifies on 2020 voter fraud in Houston, has photos. From ABC 25. Duplicate ballots, sealed envelopes, dead relatives, voters raise mail-in ballot concerns. Another from Fox News. Pennsylvania postal worker on leave after bags of undelivered mail found outside home. From CPR News. Uncounted votes in Colorado. Diverse areas and younger voters more likely to have ballots rejected. From NBC 12. Double absentee ballots accidentally sent to some Henrico voters. From the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Pennsylvania rejected 372,000 ballot applications, most of them duplicates, bewildering voters, straining officials. From the Charlotte Observer. Mislabeling of absentee ballots leaves some Mecklenburg voters getting two. From ABC 7. I-Team. Some San Mateo County voters receive multiple ballots. Officials say it's not fraud. Oh, I'm sure it's not. Those California officials are all so trustworthy. So, Mid-Michigan Now. Multiple absentee ballot applications being sent to Mid-Michigan homes. WPTV. Florida man who tried to get ballot for dead wife arrested. From KCRA 3. Election officials ask voters to stop disinfecting mail-in ballots. I've made jokes about that because we all know who those people are voting for. So scared of COVID. From the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Roughly 400 local voters received 2 ballots. Officials say errors won't lead to double votes. Again, we just trust those officials, don't we? WXII, NBC 12. Duplicate ballots sent to some North Carolina voters. KCRA 3 again. Why election officials say not to worry about Placer County voters getting double ballots. They keep telling us that it's not an issue. Kind of like how they were saying the Sharpies weren't a problem, yet all of their literature showed otherwise. And from NBC Bay Area. Bay Area voters receive multiple ballots, fuel concern over November election. From the New York Post. Board of Election resends 99,000 ballots in Brooklyn after blunder. You know, nothing like a little chain of command error, right? Because that's what it seems this whole mail-in ballot thing has been. One massive chain of custody error. Politico. Ohio County says 50,000 voters received wrong ballots. Wrong ballots. That's pretty significant. WUSA 9. Verify 500,000 Virginians received vote-by-mail application with wrong return address from nonprofit. Are those fake ballots? It seems like they likely were. From 90.5 WESA, Glitch sends duplicate ballots to voters, but system prevents double voting, the county says. Oh, I'm sure it does. From needham.wickedlocal.com. Needham Town Clerk. Several voters received duplicate ballots after possible glitch. We've seen a lot of these glitches, haven't we? From the Detroit News. Canvassers demand answers after 72% of Detroit's absentee ballot counts were off. From the Baltimore Sun. Maryland voter registration snafu affects 80,000, 4 times as many as initially announced. Gotta hate those little snafus, don't you? From Newsweek. New York voting official warns voters may register for mail-in ballots with dead people's names. We've certainly seen dead people voting has been an issue in this election cycle, and I'll have another video on that coming soon. From MLive. President Trump goes after Michigan Secretary of State again over ballot misprint. From Breitbart. Mail-in ballots found tossed in Wisconsin ditch. From KLTV. Gregg County Commissioner, 3 others arrested in alleged vote harvesting scheme. And of course, the Democrats are trying to make vote harvesting legal. So from 69 News. FBI, PSP probing 7 discarded ballots in Luzerne County. At least 7 of the ballots were for President Trump, feds say. Of course they were. From Fox News. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton announces 134 felony voter fraud charges in connection with the 2018 Dem primary. Now, I know that's old, but imagine what they were doing here in 2020 with Joe Biden, with Donald Trump up for re-election. Probably a whole lot worse. And they say that voter fraud is not widespread. There's no widespread voter fraud, guys. Just take their words for it. Just trust them. From The Hill. New Yorkers report receiving ballots with wrong name, voter address. I got a couple of those here in my apartment. New York Post. New York City voters are wrongly receiving mail-in ballots marked for military use. From the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Mail-in ballots make voter fraud easy. I know because I did it. I'm going to have to look into that one. New York Post. Minneapolis police probing alleged ballot harvesting plot helped Representative Omar. And that Project Veritas did a video revealing all of that. So I think she should be impeached or in trouble for this, because she had a whole thing going on in the Somali community in Minneapolis, and we got to get to the bottom of that. Not to mention, let's get to the bottom of her brother too. But from NBC News. Mail-in ballot law in Pennsylvania has driven out nearly a quarter of the state's top election officials. From Newsweek. Texas official arrested on felony election fraud charges could face 99-year sentence. From For New York, NBC New York. Patterson City Council Vice President among 4 charged with voting fraud in May special election, NJAG, sorry. From Just the News. Yes, America, there is voter fraud. These recent cases prove it. From Fox News. Return to sender. D.C. voters are being sent mail-in ballots for ex-residents. Again, I think I've had 1 come to my apartment. Might have been 2, but got rid of those. From Newsweek. Warning is people going door to door to illegally collect voting ballots in Maryland. From the Bangor Daily News. Orono woman charged with voter fraud after allegedly casting former roommate's ballot. From ABC News. Postal carrier accused of stealing mail-in ballot in Miami. WDVM 25. Mail collection boxes tampered with at 6 USPS locations across Central Virginia. From KCRA3. 2,100 Los Angeles County voters received faulty ballots. From WMUR 9, AG, 5,500 sample absentee ballots sent to Hanover area aren't labeled sample. From the U.S. News, 1,500 mail-in ballots arrived too late to count in Kansas. From the Salt Lake Tribune, ballot printing error in Sanpete County creates confusion. From the Anchorage Daily News, Alaska voter mistakes put many mail-in ballots on track for rejection 3 weeks before Election Day. From the Billings Gazette, Billings residents report missing vandalized ballots. From the Washington Examiner, over 100 undelivered absentee ballots found discarded in a dumpster. From Newsweek, thousands of Pennsylvania mail-in ballots are delayed with just 25 days until the election. From the New York Post, mapping error leads to 30,000 Pennsylvania voters receiving incorrect ballots. From 13 News Now, election workers swamped with multiple absentee ballot requests from same people. From Daily News, ballot for deceased voter raises concerns about LA County election integrity. We all know that LA County elections have zero integrity. Really, most of California, I believe, is that way. From WJLA, voters alert 7 on your side after receiving duplicate mail-in ballots. So, from CBS Los Angeles, voter ballots, discarded mail found in 29 Palms and Joshua Tree. From State House News Bureau, some Ohio voters report receiving damaged ballots, which of course those will not be accepted. Hall County issues 21 duplicate ballots. The Texas Tribune, Carrollton mayoral candidate arrested on suspicion of fraudulently obtaining mail-in ballots. From WND, Colorado sued for having more voters than people. Yeah, something's going on there. And we've been seeing something very similar in Wisconsin with 89% voter turnout. Yeah, those numbers don't track to me. So from 1010 Wins, New Jersey USPS mail carrier arrested for dumping mail, including 99 election ballots sent to West Orange residents. From U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, 19 foreign nationals indicted for illegally voting in 2016 elections. Now, this is old, of course, but it does raise the question of, are some of these illegal immigrants and foreign nationals who are not supposed to be voting getting the opportunity to vote illegally? From MSN, Georgia official claims 1,000 people illegally voted twice in primaries. So if they can vote twice in the primaries, why would they not be able to vote twice in the generals? 1,000 votes in Georgia right now, big difference. Big difference. It's a close run there. Of course, I think a lot of it's only close because of fraud, but, you know. From the Daily Record, Post Office says Morris mail-in ballots likely burned in mail truck fire. How convenient. From 740 KTRH, more than 200,000 ballots in Nevada mailed to the wrong address. From NorthJersey.com, bitter rivals agree to do-over in disputed Patterson election. And we've talked about the Patterson election before, but it was so bad they had to have a do-over. And it's looking like it's gonna go that way with the presidential election here. I mean, they're not gonna do a do-over, of course, for the presidential election, but the problems are just as widespread. And we called it. We said this is going to be a major, major problem. From Patch, New Hampshire man arrested on vote fraud charge. From the AP, deceased cat gets voter registration application in the mail. A dead cat. From the Wall Street Journal, New York's mail vote disaster. From the Los Angeles Times, LA County man accused of voting in 3 elections as his dead mother. From Christian Science Monitor, why California threw out 100,000 mail-in primary ballots. From APM Reports, more mailed votes, more rejected votes. From NPR, signed, sealed, undelivered. Thousands of mail-in ballots rejected for tardiness. From CBS News, vote-by-mail experiment reveals potential problems within postal voting system ahead of November election. Yeah, I'd say so. Just a little bit. From Fox 2 Detroit, Plymouth Township woman charged with election law forgery over absentee voter ballot. From the New York Times, error and fraud at issue as absentee voting rises. From Real Clear Politics, 28 million mail-in ballots went missing in the last 4 elections. 28 million. That is an average of 7 million ballots per election. That is the course of the country right there. From the Hill, postal worker pleads guilty to election fraud after changing voters' party affiliations. From the Tampa Bay Times, more than 18,000 mail ballots not counted in Florida's March presidential primary. From Politico, Florida, more than 35,000 mail-in ballots were rejected in Florida primary. So you see, Florida primaries had some issues. From NorthJersey.com, Post Office says mail-in ballots were left on floor in Patterson buildings. And from The Hill, investigation underway after bags of mail found dumped in Los Angeles area parking lot. So this is it for this video. This is just a list that somebody compiled for somebody that I know compiled, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go through it, and I am going to show everybody a compilation of just how screwed up this mail-in balloting process actually is, and how we should have zero faith in the electoral process so long as mass mail-in voting is used as a primary function of the election. It simply doesn't work. And we were telling Democrats this all damn year. Trump was telling them it. We were telling him that. It wasn't going to work. They had to know this was going to happen, which means that I think that they knew that Joe Biden stood no chance of winning. And of course, they did this to create confusion. And in that confusion, they would be able to commit voter fraud on a massive level that nobody has ever seen before. Completely unprecedented, at least in our times. I mean, I'm sure back in the days of, you know, the political machines of the Gilded Age and stuff like that, it was pretty bad back then too. But we have the technology right now to actually have secure balloting and secure elections, but we don't do it. And that should be a major issue. Now, this was just a quick compilation video that I was putting together. I've got a larger commentary video coming out where I'm going to be talking more in depth about a lot of stories coming out now about this past, you know, the election this past week. So stay tuned for that. But until then, always remember, rev your engines, ride hard, and fight like hell.
Every time who I am, well,